Testing horror games is already a questionable decision when you value your sleep. But today, I decided to make the experience even worse by strapping an actual heart rate monitor to my chest, so there was nowhere to hide. No pretending I wasn't scared. No saying the jump scare caught me off guard because I sneezed. My heartbeat was going to expose every lie in real time. If my pulse launched into orbit because a Roblox ghost whispered from across the hallway, everyone was going to know. I figured this would be a fun little science experiment. You know, gather some data, compare games, see which ones rely on cheap jump scares, and which ones slowly cook your anxiety until you're questioning every shadow. Worst case scenario, I embarrass myself in front of thousands of people. Best case scenario, I discover that Roblox players have somehow become better horror developers than entire AAA studios. Honestly, after seeing what some of these creators have built over the past few years, I wasn't ruling anything out. Roblox stopped being the place where people stacked colourful bricks a long time ago. Some of these games look terrifying. The lighting is impressive, the sound design is incredible, and they somehow managed to create pure psychological warfare with blocky characters that have permanently smiling faces. It's almost disrespectful. So I calibrated the monitor, took a deep breath, made sure the numbers were visible on screen, and started with a resting heart rate sitting comfortably around 73 beats per minute. Nice and relaxed. Completely normal. That number was about to experience the worst day of its life. The first game eased me into things with a creepy abandoned house. At least that's what I thought. It looked harmless enough. Dim hallways, old wallpaper peeling off the walls, doors opening by themselves, your average Tuesday in a haunted building. The atmosphere did most of the heavy lifting. Nothing was happening, but everything felt wrong. Every room looked like something had happened there 20 years ago, and nobody wanted to talk about it. My heart rate slowly climbed from 73 to 82. Not bad. I was handling it pretty well. Then I opened one innocent-looking door, and something sprinted across the hallway faster than my brain could process. I didn't even fully see what it was. It might have been a monster. It might have been a refrigerator with legs. All I know is my monitor immediately shot to 98. We weren't even 5 minutes into this experiment, and my body had already filed a complaint. That's when I realized the monitor was going to make this way funnier than I expected. Normally, after a jump scare, I'd sit there pretending everything was fine while secretly reconsidering every life choice that led me to this moment. Now the graph was basically screaming, "He's lying. Look at him." His heart almost left the building. The next section of the game focused less on loud scares and more on tension. Long corridors stretched into darkness while distant footsteps echoed around corners. Every sound made me stop walking. The developers understood something most horror games forget. Silence is terrifying. When nothing happens for several minutes, your imagination starts doing all the work for them. You begin expecting disaster around every corner. You convince yourself every shadow moved. Every tiny sound becomes a personal attack. My pulse hovered around 90 the entire time because I kept expecting something to happen. The game barely needed monsters. My own brain was doing their job for free. Eventually disaster arrived exactly when I let my guard down. I solved a puzzle, congratulated myself for having an IQ slightly above room temperature, and turned around to find something standing 6 inches behind me. The monitor exploded to 117 beats per minute. I physically recoiled so hard, my chair rolled backwards. If you pause the video right there, I looked like someone had launched me out of a medieval catapult. That's the moment I accepted defeat. I wasn't beating the allegations anymore. The heart rate monitor had become the main character. Every scare was basically a boss fight against my cardiovascular system. Next up was one of Roblox's most famous horror experiences. Everybody recommended it. Everybody said it would destroy me. That's exactly the kind of confidence I needed from complete strangers on the internet. This game looked beautiful. The environments were detailed, the lighting was cinematic, and every room felt handcrafted. It immediately felt more like an indie horror title than something running inside Roblox. The sound design deserves an award because I hated every second of it. Floorboards creaked behind me, pipes groaned overhead, wind rattled broken windows. Every noise sounded like it carried bad news. My heart climbed into the mid-90s before I'd even encountered an enemy. The game understood pacing perfectly. It gave me enough time to settle down before introducing something horrible. Every quiet moment felt borrowed. Then came the chase sequence. Horror games love chase sequences because developers know panic makes people forget basic motor skills. Suddenly, I couldn't remember how keyboards worked. Apparently pressing W had become advanced engineering. My character slammed into walls, got caught on furniture, and generally moved like someone learning human movement for the first time. Behind me, the monster sounded angry enough to file taxes in my name. My heart rate reached 126. That's the highest number I'd seen all day. I wasn't screaming exactly. I produced whatever sound your body invents when your soul temporarily disconnects from your physical form. Somehow I escaped. Pure luck. Absolutely zero skill involved. If there had been one extra chair in that hallway, I would have become monster food immediately. After surviving, I noticed something funny. My heart didn't instantly calm down. It stayed above 100 for almost 2 full minutes. That's what adrenaline does. Your body doesn't immediately realize the danger has passed. It keeps acting like something is still chasing you, even though you're standing safely in a virtual room made of digital blocks. Evolution really didn't prepare us for horror games. Our ancestors probably developed this response because saber-toothed cats existed. Mine was activating because a blocky ghost with glowing eyes yelled at me through headphones. Technology has officially confused biology. The third game took a completely different approach. Instead of constant scares, it focused on exploration. You wandered through forests, abandoned hospitals, underground tunnels, and places that looked like every urban explorer's nightmare. The environments were huge, which somehow made everything scarier. Small maps let you memorize your surroundings. Large maps make you feel lost. Every wrong turn feels permanent. I found myself checking behind me every few seconds, even when there was absolutely no reason to. The developers planted enough tiny details to keep paranoia alive. A wheelchair moved slightly when I looked away. A painting changed expression after I walked past it. A distant figure disappeared if I stared too long. None of these moments were loud. They didn't need to be. They quietly infected my brain until I questioned everything on screen. My heart floated between 90 and 100 almost the entire session. It was sustained anxiety instead of sudden spikes. If the previous game punched me in the face, this one slowly tightened a screw every minute until I was convinced the walls themselves were plotting against me. Then I reached an underground tunnel illuminated by flickering emergency lights. You already know where this is going. Flickering lights have never introduced anything positive in human history. Every time the lights blinked, something moved closer. Blink. Empty hallway. Blink. Slightly closer. Blink. Even closer. Blink. Personal space completely violated. My heart jumped to 122 before the monster even attacked because my brain connected the dots faster than I wanted it to. I backed away while simultaneously getting stuck on every possible object in existence. Apparently, cardboard boxes are the strongest material known to mankind because I couldn't move around them to save my life. Literally. Somehow I escaped again. The monitor became the funniest part because every time I thought I was acting composed, the numbers completely disagreed. At one point I calmly said, "This isn't that scary," while the monitor proudly displayed 116 beats per minute. Incredible performance. Oscar-worthy acting. My body immediately exposed me. Another game relied heavily on multiplayer. Horror with friends is supposed to be easier because everyone shares the fear. That's the theory anyway. In reality, your friends become additional hazards. One friend intentionally closes every door behind you. Another runs ahead, triggers every monster, then disappears while you're left negotiating with supernatural entities. Someone inevitably screams directly into the microphone with enough volume to damage nearby wildlife. My heart rate bounced all over the place because I wasn't only reacting to monsters anymore. I was reacting to complete chaos. At one point a teammate whispered, "I think something's behind you." Those 6 words alone increased my pulse by almost 15 beats before I even turned around. There wasn't anything there. He lied for entertainment. Friendship truly is beautiful. Eventually Karma arrived because seconds later he got grabbed by the monster while everyone else escaped. We laughed for exactly 3 seconds before realizing the monster was now sprinting toward us. Teamwork instantly disappeared. Every person became responsible for their own survival. Suddenly nobody remembered anyone else's name. Every hallway turned into an Olympic sprint. My monitor reached another peak around 124 while I desperately searched for somewhere to hide. The hiding mechanic deserves special recognition because waiting inside a locker while hearing footsteps outside is somehow worse than running. At least running gives you something to do. Hiding forces you to sit still while your imagination invents 17 different ways things are about to go horribly wrong. Every footstep sounded closer than the last. My pulse stayed elevated until the monster finally walked away. The relief afterward felt incredible. That's one of the weird things about horror games. Fear makes relief feel amazing. You survive one terrifying encounter, and suddenly breathing normally feels like winning the lottery. Another game leaned into psychological horror. Very few jump scares, mostly disturbing visuals and unsettling storytelling. The environment slowly became stranger without announcing it. Hallways stretched longer. Furniture appeared where none existed before. Mirrors reflected things incorrectly. I loved this style because it trusted players to notice details themselves. Instead of screaming for your attention, it quietly waited for your brain to catch up. Once you noticed something wrong, there was no going back. Every room became suspicious. My heart rate didn't spike dramatically, but it remained consistently high. Around 98 to 105 almost the entire session. That's arguably more impressive because maintaining tension for extended periods is much harder than relying on loud noises. Eventually I reached a room filled with family photographs. They looked normal until I noticed each picture had changed slightly after every visit. Faces disappeared. Eyes shifted. Smiles became unnatural. My brain finally pieced together what the developers were doing, and I immediately wanted to leave. That's effective horror. No explosion, no monster, no scream, pure discomfort. Then came one of the cheapest scares of the day. I walked through a doorway and a loud sound blasted directly into my headphones while a face appeared on screen for less than half a second. My heart rate jumped from 97 to 118. I hate admitting that worked because intellectually, I know it's cheap. Emotionally, my nervous system completely disagreed. Sometimes your body doesn't care whether the scare deserves respect. It panics first and files complaints later. After several hours, my heart monitor had collected enough information to tell a complete story. Different games scared me in different ways. Some relied on atmosphere. Others depended on timing. A few created anxiety through sound alone. One game somehow made opening doors feel like signing a dangerous legal contract. Every handle I touched felt suspicious. The funniest realization was how predictable my reactions became. Whenever the music stopped completely, my heart started climbing before anything happened. Whenever I entered a narrow hallway, same thing. Whenever a game forced me to crawl through vents, my pulse immediately increased, because horror games have collectively agreed nothing good has ever happened inside ventilation systems. It's become an unwritten law of gaming. I also learned that anticipation is often stronger than the scare itself. My highest heart rates usually happened seconds before the monster appeared. My imagination consistently outperformed the developers. They planted enough clues for my brain to invent something even worse than what eventually showed up. That's impressive design. The best horror games don't overwhelm you with monsters every minute. They let uncertainty do the work. They create questions without immediately providing answers. Every unanswered question becomes another reason your pulse creeps higher. Looking back at the recordings, there were moments where I genuinely forgot I was wearing the monitor until another scare happened. Then I'd glance down and see numbers that looked like I was running a marathon while sitting perfectly still in a chair. Modern horror developers have somehow weaponized audio engineering, lighting, pacing, and human psychology so effectively that my cardiovascular system started treating Roblox like a survival situation. That's absurd when you think about it. A platform famous for colorful avatars and goofy roleplay somehow evolved into a horror powerhouse capable of sending my heartbeat into another postal code. If somebody told me years ago that some of the scariest gaming experiences I'd have would happen inside Roblox, I would have laughed. Now I'm sitting here with scientific evidence proving otherwise. The heart rate monitor doesn't care about pride. It doesn't care about excuses. It records the truth. The truth is, these games are terrifying. Some earned their scares through brilliant atmosphere. Others earned them through clever pacing. A couple earned them through shameless jump scares that still work despite my complaints. My final average heart rate ended far above where it started, and the highest spike of the session reached a number I definitely wasn't expecting from blocky horror games. Mission accomplished. My dignity suffered minor injuries, my heart received an unexpected workout, and I gained a new appreciation for the developers building these experiences. If you're looking for genuine horror, don't underestimate Roblox. Somewhere on that platform is a creator patiently designing the exact hallway that's going to make your heart forget what relaxing feels like. Mine already found several of them today, and judging by the monitor, they didn't miss.